Shalom. Giving our praises, our glory, our honors unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Rakakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elder bishops, the great millstone. Peace and blessings to the 144,000, the rest of the hopeful elect out there. This is your brother, the priest, Desire One from GMS Atlanta. Back with another edifying video. And this here is a video. It was a debate. The Baal believers of the way versus Genesis is the Sabbath based off the moon. And this has been a debated topic amongst different Israelites, IUIC, ISUBK. Now you got believers of the way. Genesis and in GMS, we pretty much teach the same thing because Genesis, the Deacon Hakai, and even Sakari, Alazar, they came up from up under learning GMS. They came up learning from up under GMS, and so our interpretation here at GMS and Genesis here, and even Sakari is the same thing, and we're right. We're 100% correct on the Sabbath being based off the moon, the new moon. Believers of the way are wrong. They're going off, and it's not that hard of a topic to understand and get. So they're going into all this. So Genesis is debating them on this topic. That's what they do. We don't get into debates. We don't go back and forth with Christians or even back and forth with Israelites and do debates and speculations on the scriptures. We here at GMS, we got the truth. Our job is to just teach the truth, whether you accept it or not. When Yahushua was on the scene, he had the whole 100% truth. He taught it to you. He taught it back then, whether the Israelites accepted it or not. It's not a debate. It's not a questioning. Okay? Now you go back and you do look up to make sure that what we're saying is true. And if you look it up, if you do look up what we're saying, then you'll find out that we're right. I'm not sure what these guys, deal is. I'm talking about Baal, believers of the way. I'm not sure what their, deal is. Ultimately, if they can't see it, then Yahweh Shai is truly not dealing with them. And no amount of, filibustering and looking up these different historical points, it's not gonna. It's a simple understanding. It's simple. Even the elder Yashawamba, he put up a simple 20-minute video on understanding the new moon and how you count the working days of the week into the Sabbath. So what I'm gonna do is now I didn't watch all of this. I just skipped ahead until I found a good point. I'm not about to watch no nearly 4-hour video on a simple topic like this. But there are some things said in this video that's just wrong. So I want to edify and bring out the proper understanding. But I do want you to hear what they're saying, so you can know not to come the same way. Okay? And I'm talking about believers of the way. So I'm gonna go ahead and play some of this. And you're also going to hear the brother Assad and the Deacon Hakai in the background. And then you got the two brothers of Baal. Ratazah is on the smaller screen on the left. And then you got the other brother on the right. I forget his name. But they're going to ask questions, and it's really not a hard thing to get. When you understand the scriptures and you put your mind and your spirit into the Bible and of the time in the world, 2,000, 3,000 years ago, there was no Gregorian calendar. There was no Monday through Sunday, weekday. Uh, it just wasn't a part of the culture back then in any of the ancient empires, as far as Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. That didn't come about until later, especially during the time of the time of Israel back then. Okay, we didn't name our days, and that's just a simple Google search. I don't know why they can't just Google it, and it's simple. But our people like to make simple things complicated. So I'm not going to ramble. I'm going to play some of this, and then I'm going to go into some edification.
Then that's when you start your feast, and it ends on the 21st. If you do the math and count, you only can get to the 21st at even when you start to count from the 14th. That's what Exodus chapter 12, verse 18 states. But let me get one more question before I give it to my brother. Let me see real quick. Okay, dealing with the manna. Let me ask you a question. But before I ask that question, is a transitional day, is it a work weekday or a Sabbath?
It's not a day. It's not. It's a transitional day. It's not reckoned as a working day or a Sabbath.
So what happens? What day does the manna fall on that day, or no?
In Exodus 16?
Yes. In Exodus, does the manna fall? Since it's not a day at all, so it's not a work day and it's not a Sabbath. So you can't say it doesn't fall on the Sabbath because it's a Sabbath, because it's not a Sabbath according to you, and you can't say it falls on a weekday because it's not a day. So what happens to the manna on the transitional day?
Yeah, they're going into the manna. When does the manna fall? It's just a lot of unnecessary questions being asked. So I don't want to confuse you. Let me jump ahead, son. And I want to get to the point. Matter of fact, let me skip up a few minutes. And then they struggle in finding the Blue Letter Bible. Let's see here, because there was a question asked. Okay, here we go.
And then you get what? The Sabbath.
Okay, got you. So,
hold on. Let me go back. Because they're going to break down how the calendar
that
works.
brings you to what? The 8th day. So on your screen, if you see number 1, we got a minute and a half on your screen.
Yep. Okay, so pay attention, because Deacon Nakai is going to break down the days. And then these guys are still going to be confused. Okay, hold on.
If you see number one, then that's the new moon. And then 2 would be a working day. 3 would be a working day. 4 would be a working day. 5 would be a working day. 6 would be a working day. 7 would be a working day. That's 6 working days. And then you get what? The Sabbath.
Okay, got you. So
hold on. So look, new moon plus 6 working days. New moon starts your week, right? Yes or no?
The new moon institutes the Sabbath. And then you have 6 working days. It's the new moon. No? The new moon is not. Oh, my bad. Go ahead. Ask it again.
Yes or no? Does the new moon start your week? Yes or no?
Yes, the new moon starts the Sabbath week, and then it's 6 working days after that, because in Amos 8 and 5 and Ezekiel 46, the new moon is not a working day. So it's the.
Okay, so let's go to that. Let's go to Amos 8 and 5. Just real quick, Amos 8 and 5. I mean, after that point, after Deacon Nakai explained it, there shouldn't be any questions. So this is the book of Amos 8 and 4. It says, "Hear this, O ye that swallow up the needy, even to make the poor of the land to fail, saying," and here's the point, "When will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn?" And the Sabbath, which the Sabbath here is alluding to the new moon. The new moon is a Sabbath because you don't sell corn. That's why you're having Israelites here that want to take advantage of the needy and take advantage of the poor. They want to sell. They want to sell their goods. All right, I'm going to read it again. Verse 5, saying, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn? You don't sell corn on the new moon. So that's why they want the new moon to be gone. They're waiting for the new moon to be over. It says, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat. So this is it's not a separation here between the new moon and the Sabbath. It's the same thing. The new moon and the Sabbath is the same thing. Sabbath is a Hebrew word that just means rest. On the new moon, the Israelites, we rested on the new moon. The new moon lets us know that there will be a new monthly cycle of weekly Sabbaths. It says, when will the new moon be gone, that we may sell corn, and the Sabbath, that we may set forth wheat, making the ephah small and the shekel great. What did they do? They took advantage of the Israelites, meaning they made the weight of the goods, right, such as the corn. All right, ephah is a weight. So instead of having a greater amount of corn, they cut the corn down, but they made the price, the shekel of the corn, greater. It says, and falsifying the balances by deceit. So you had the Israelites that were taking advantage of poor. They didn't have much, so they didn't get much, right? Corn. So they made the price of the corn. The wicked Israelites made the price of the corn more expensive. That is why they wanted the new moon, which is the Sabbath, to be gone, so they can continue to make that moolah, so they can continue to make that money. So that's what Amos is speaking about here. So this scripture is where the deacon Akar was referencing about the new moon and the Sabbath. Okay, so let's go back. I just want to clarify that with the scriptures that he mentioned.
New moon, and then it's 6 working days after that. And then what does that bring you back to? The 8th. And decide if you want to slam dunk it, you can.
No, that's fine.
Right, it's simple. You get the new moon, right, which is the first day of the month, okay, which is a dark moon, by the way, not a full moon. And then, okay, so 1 is the new moon, right? Then when you count 6 more days, because the new moon is a Sabbath, so the second day would be a working day, the third day a working day, the fourth day a working day, the 5th day a working day, and 6 a working day, and then 7 a working day. So that's a complete week. So you have 1 is a Sabbath, 2, 3, 4, that's 3 days, 5, 6, 7, that's 6 days. That's 7 days. Is that not a whole week? And then the 8th day, you start the cycle all over again. The 8th day is a Sabbath. Now the Sabbath of the weeks of the month are starting on the 8th day. And then when you count 6 days after 8, you get 14. And there's your second week. Because 2 weeks in a month is what? 14 days. That's all this is saying here. And that's all Genesis is saying. But you got these Israelites here in Baal are making this complicated. And they're not the only ones. Other Israelites do this as well. It's not hard to understand. And there was no Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the ancient world. Okay? When we were in the land of Israel, we didn't keep Sunday through Saturday. So you Israelites stopped keeping the Sabbath Friday to Saturday. Stop keeping the Sabbath Friday the Sabbath. You got to go according to the new moon. But so that understanding, hey, like Deacon just said, man, it's been slam dunked. It's been slam dunked. Okay? They should not be confused anymore, but they're going to keep going. I'm going to play a little bit more.
And I just can't wait for our cross
A
examination.
total, how many days is, you said, so it's a total of 7 days in a week. 1 is the new moon, 2, 3, 4, 5, prep day. How the hell did you get 8, D?
What do you mean prep day? Hold on, what did you said the 6 right there on that calendar is the prep day? And that's not what we said.
No,
The
listen
first
to
is
what I'm saying.
You can't. Hold on. Salaki.
Where is he? Why is this guy stopping in the middle of the week for a damn prep day? What prep day? There's no prep day. What is he preparing for? You're not even back at the Sabbath. Listen, right? I went over the new moon, which is just like what they're doing here. Number 1 is the new moon. That's the Sabbath for that week. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 6 days in total, from 2 to 7. Those are all working days. I don't understand why you Israelites can't get that simple concept. It's simple math. You know, you got to throw on Barney or something to get you guys to figure it out. Simple.
It's just 2 things real quick. I pause the time. Just 2 things. Just aside, when you kind of come back with a question, it kind of pushes it into a clarifying space.
Yeah,
so
my bad,
both brothers might be talking at the same time. So it does create a little confusion. So brothers might talk over each other. So just try to either answer it, and then if they didn't get their question.
And the guy you hear speaking, he's just a moderator. His name is Christian Corey. I don't even know why they need to have him on there. He's a Christian. But, they do these debates for whatever reason. This is why we don't deal with debates and Christians and these other Israelites here at GMS. We just teach the scriptures. If you want to be edified, if you want to just know what the Bible is saying, simply just watch the GMS videos. So this here is just a correction on this these guys saying that the new moon and it's not the Sabbath and it doesn't constitute the weekly Sabbath. Excuse me. I'm talking about Baal, but Genesis, Deacon Akai, Brother Assad, they got it right. Okay, but they got that from GMS. GMS got it right. So you can know where to go, because it's just a lot of confusion between the camps. You pick a camp to listen to, you study. When you see that that's not right, and you get confused, you're like, wait a second, that doesn't sound right. Then you check GMS videos, and then it'll be made simple for you. But you'll get it if you're the elect.
Answer, they can ask another question. Just try to answer it. But that's all I wanted to say. It's creating this back and forth space. But I'm gonna let the brothers restate their question. The time is stopped, and then after that, brothers got the space to answer.
All right, so I'm gonna just restate the question and the reason why we even going here. In the account of 1 Samuel, we understand that David hid for 3 days, and then he came out, right? But they add an extra 3 days. But they don't count the new moon as a part of the working week. It's not a part of the working week. But when we look at Samuel counted new moon as a part of the working week. That's why it says on day 2 and day 3, David came out of hiding, and then they add 3 more days, and it still doesn't get them to their eighth day Sabbath, or their weekly cycle falling on the 8th day, because Samuel counts new moon as a day, and they have to add it in there. So my question to them is this. I'm gonna repose it just as a clarifying question. Yes or no? In the account of Samuel, did Samuel in that account count the new moon as a working day in the sense of a part of the week? Yes.
The new moon is not a working day. The new moon is not a working day. You don't work on the new moon. It's a Sabbath. This is what Deacon Akai is trying to tell you, which is why he referenced Amos the 8th chapter, and then I read Amos the 8th chapter, Because the new moon is not, it's a Sabbath. You don't work. What are you doing on any other Sabbath? You don't work, you rest. All right? You study the scriptures. Back then they went to the temple or the synagogues and they worshiped Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. Then that evening when the sun went down, just like any other day, then the new first day of the week will start. Or being that is after the new moon, the second day would start. The second day of the month, which is the second day of the week, would start. It's simple. The calendar is right in front of you. So I don't. Hey, these guys ain't got it, man. They're the elect. Those are the elect that are of quick understanding. There would be no need to have this this debate about the Sabbath being based off the moon or off the new moon, because the elect would get it. You know. Now, for some members of the elect, it take time because you caught up with these other groups. But eventually, if the Spirit's working with you, or if you're of the elect, when the Spirit is working with you, then you'll see it, and you'll be on the right path. But these guys, Baal, are not on the right path. They're off the path.
No.
No, because Samuel would be disagreeing with the Bible that Amos 8:5 clarifies that the new moon is not a working day. Ezekiel 46 also does that. And the fact that we see the new moon with Sabbath restrictions and we don't see that in Torah proves our point that the new moon constitutes the Sabbath.
Okay. So
Right.
I'm just read this scripture and then I'm gonna yield. Where is it at? 1 Samuel, go to 20. Or is it 21?
Salakia, just a quick point, Yatazah. Y'all are on, we're under the minute and a half mark, so y'all are on y'all last question. You can elect to teach the rest of the time if you want to, but if you do ask a question, then the rest of the space will go to them to answer.
Okay, I'm gonna yield and I'm gonna give it to Yatazah. Basically, what we're showing is that Samuel counts day 1 as the new moon and so on and so forth, and you get a consecutive 6-day cycle when they add 6
And they
days.
superimpose it and adding days to the week. You start new moon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Sabbath. You can't get 8. You would have to disregard the new moon. And that's
Okay,
they do
what is this
with
guy
the
talking about?
misappropriation.
This is where the confusion for me came at. I don't know what this guy here is talking about. Let me go back. Okay, let me go back.
One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So forth, and you get a consecutive 6-day cycle when they add 6
And they
days.
superimpose it and adding days to the week. You start new moon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Sabbath. You can't get 8. You would have to disregard the new moon. And that's what they do with the misappropriation in Ezekiel 46.
Yeah, this guy on the right, I don't know what he's talking about. We're not disregarding the new moon. He's saying you can't get 8. If the new moon is the first day of the month, and then you count 6 days after that, that takes you to 7. 1 plus 6 is 7. The 8th day of the month, it's like they're trying to separate the new moon from, and the IUIC do this. They'll celebrate the new moon, but then they'll keep the weekly Sabbath Friday to Saturday. The IUIC does that. The new moon is not separate from the month. The new moon is the beginning of the month. It's simple. So I'm gonna go back one more time and just listen to the foolishness that this guy is speaking on.
As the new moon and so on and so forth, and you get a consecutive 6-day cycle when they add 6
And they
days.
superimpose it and adding days to the week. You start new moon 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Sabbath. You can't get 8. You would have to disregard the new moon. And that's what they do with the misappropriation in Ezekiel 46, saying it's not a work day. You know what I mean? But it's still a part of the week. Even if you say it's not a work day, it's part of the week. If it's part of the week, then in a 7-day cycle, you don't even have a Sabbath.
And he said Samuel was wrong because in that account in Samuel,
Yeah, I don't know what the hell this guy's speaking about. So let's make this simple. So I'm done with this. Obviously, these guys are confused. They don't have the truth, and they don't know what they're speaking about. So let's go to the Apocrypha, right? And let's go to, and this is something that we always speak on here. I've done a video in the last few months on the new moon. Made it simple, but I'm gonna go into it again. This is let's go to the book of Ecclesiasticus, all right, or the wisdom of Sirach. I don't like saying Sirach because this isn't a liquor. Sirach, chapter 43, in the Apocrypha, chapter 43, and verse 6. So this is Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 43, verse 6. It says, "He made the moon also to serve in her season for a declaration of times and a sign of the world." The moon was created to declare time. Okay? Verse 7. "From the moon is the sign of feasts, a light that decreaseth in her perfection." The main feast. What feast is this talking about? This feast that it's talking about, for example, is the Passover. Because the Passover occurs on a full moon. Because the new moon is a dark moon. Okay? Now what I have up here, and I looked it up, and this is the new moon calendar, July 2025. And so let's get this. So let's click on this image here. Right? Hold on, let me do this. Let me go to the web page. I just want to get this picture. Okay, so here we go. Okay, this is January, February. Okay, let's get to so what's today's date? Today's date is July 16th, right? July 16th. So this is July 2025. We're going to go to July 16th. So we will have to go up to June, the month of, see, the Gregorian calendar that we have here in America, it does not correspond according to the new moon. It is its own calendar. We Israelites, we don't follow the Gregorian calendar when we are conducting our customs as Israelites in our feast days. Okay, so let's start at the beginning. So June 25th, which is, here you have Tuesday, you have Wednesday, right? Now they have the new moon here on the 25th, but it starts on the 24th. It starts, our day, the Israelite days start the evening before. So the evening before the 24th, which is a Tuesday, all right, let's go to June 24th. That's the beginning of the month at that evening, that nighttime, so you can understand. You got to make it simple. So that nighttime, Tuesday night, is the beginning of the month. So that whole day on the 25th is the new moon. Okay? That's why it has the new moon on the 25th. And then it lasts for a full day. All right? And then you're going to slowly start to see the light increase. 26, 27, 28, 29, 30th. Right? Follow the week. So you have the new moon. That's the first day. So the 24th to the 25th, that new moon, that's the first day of the week. Okay? 26th, 2nd. 27th, 3rd. 4th, 5th, 6th. Going to July 1st, Tuesday, 7. Tuesday, July 1st is the 7th day. And then you have the 8th day, Tuesday evening to Wednesday evening, Tuesday night to Wednesday night. Right? Now, I'm not going according to the calendar. Follow the moon. Okay? The 8th day, Tuesday. The 9th day, Thursday. The 10th day, Friday. The 11th day, Saturday. The 12th day, Sunday. The 13th day, Monday. The 14th day, which is the 7th day, the next Sabbath, right? Goes into what? Goes into evening. And what do you see? It grows all the way until the full moon. Okay? That's when it's at its right. It grows. It grows. Okay? It grows. So let me go back here. What is this? Okay, new moon calendar. On July 24th. Yeah, they do it. They count the peak days. But we always count the evening times before. So let me go back. What did I click on? I clicked on this. Because it's July now. Where am I at? Oh, December. Let me go back. So then we're going to have another new moon. Right? Full moon. Okay? Because the next new moon will come towards the end of July. So then you start the circle all over again. Right? You start the cycle all over again. It's not hard to understand. It's easy to understand, easy. Okay, so let's do this. Let me see, what is the, no, I want to go to YouTube. YouTube.com. GMS High Holy Days. Right, so this is GMS New Moons and High Holy Days. So this is the current cycle, right? So you can see here, June 24th, Tuesday evening to Wednesday evening. All right, so we're on the Sabbath right now. The Sabbath will be over in a few hours when the sun goes down. Okay? We don't count our calendar according to the Gregorian calendar. All right? We keep our calendar totally separate. I don't know, maybe you got Israelites that just don't want to separate, and that's what it is. You know, they don't want to separate from America. It's just easier to follow the calendar we already got, but we have to go back to the old ways and the old paths. Okay, it's not up for debate, man. Okay, we're Hebrew Israelites. We're not American Israelites. You got a lot of American Israelites trying to blend in this truth with their lives in this world, and it's not going to work. Right, Jeremiah chapter 6 and 16. Thus saith the Lord. So this is a commandment from Yahweh himself. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, stand ye in the ways. So you're talking about a believer of the way. Well, the way, the true ways, is what the Lord is saying here. And see and ask for the old paths, the old way, the old calendar, the old customs, the old culture, not blending in America. It says, where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. The reason why Baal, believers of the way, are not at rest with this doctrine is because they're not walking in the truth. They're doing what they want to do. Just like I did the video on IUIC earlier. Bishop Nathaniel wants to teach and bring the gospel the way he wants to, and he's going to run into a brick wall. But they said, we will not walk therein. So these Israelites here, okay, and Genesis goes off too.
Shalom, family.
Genesis goes off too, but they're right in this context here, okay? They're right here. But these guys, believers of the way, they're going off. They're walking in their own way. Our calendar is separate from the American calendar. So if the new moon, I'm going to go back here. So when the new moon is dictating, this is for example, right? So you got next week coming up will be a new moon, according to the moon cycle. And it's not a new month, according to the Gregorian calendar. It's a new, as you can see, the Gregorian calendar, if they was going to go according to the new moon, they'll be about a week or so off. So you can't go according to that. You got to go for the old path. They didn't have, you couldn't go into, they weren't using the Egyptian calendar in the wilderness. They were using a new calendar set up by the Heavenly Father. That's why when you read Exodus, the 12th chapter and beyond, and it goes into the laws that Moses was giving Israel, we got new feast days, new high holy days, we got a Sabbath, we got a whole new way of life. And we were coming out of the Egyptian way of life. So Moses wasn't walking around with a new a new Israelite calendar on the tablet of stone. He didn't get the tablets, he didn't get the commandments on the stone and then got a calendar too. No, they went according to the moon. Like I read in Ecclesiasticus, it is a declaring of the time. So they used the sky to dictate what the days of the week, first day, second day. They didn't name their days. We didn't name our days. We knew that according to the moon, there was a new moon, and then we counted 6 days, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then that next week, that 7th day, which would be the 8th day after the first day, which is a new moon, that would be the next Sabbath. It's not hard to understand. So here you got, next week is going to be a new moon. I'm just going according to this calendar here, right? And then as you can see, the light, it goes from a dark moon, because it's a cycle of light. The moon goes according to a cycle of light. It's not that the moon isn't there, it's just that the light isn't as bright. And they knew when they saw that first sliver of light, right? You see waxing crescent, that's when they knew that, okay, now the month, the new month, and the new week is starting. Okay? So you have a light that increases, and then you get to the middle of the week, you get the full moon, when it's at its peak, the full moon. Okay? And then once you get the full moon, right, you're going to get a decreasing light. it decreases in its perfection. Okay? Because see, you have it here in July, the full moon was in the middle of the week. You know, it was in the middle of the week. So if this was the Passover, it would be in the middle of the week. And we've done that before. Sometimes the Passover falls on the weekend. Sometimes it falls in the beginning of the week. Sometimes it'll fall in the middle of the week. It depends on when the new moon comes in. So let me go back to the Apocrypha here. Ecclesiasticus 43:7. From the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. Because what feast was the highest feast that fell on a full moon? And then it starts to decrease. The Passover. It's perfectly full and bright on the Passover. It's a full moon. And then it decreases. Verse 8. The month is called after her name. So the month, because the month starts with moon. If you look up the word month, it'll take you to moon. Increasing wonderfully in her changing. So when the month starts, the light increases. Let me give you a visual again. When a new month starts, right, the light increases. It goes from dark to light. New moon, another name for new moon is new month. And then it increases, okay, till you get to the full moon. Easy to understand, okay? So verse 8, the month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing, which goes into the weeks. It changes from week to week. Being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven. The beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, an ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord. So now you got the proper understanding. It's not hard to get. And then I gave you the GMS page where you can find the high holy days, the moons. GMS new moons and high holy days. We go according to the moon. Okay, that's how the Israelites calculated the Sabbath and the new moon. Okay? So this is just ridiculous to have to go over this and do a versus debate. These guys don't get it. So I'm going to end it here. I'm not going to have y'all suffer through this. You know, it's a simple concept to get. Israelites just make it complicated, and it's not complicated. Elias woman said that it's not complicated. It's a simple concept to get, but our people, like I read in Jeremiah, was it Jeremiah 6? They said that we will not walk therein. So they don't want to walk in the old ways and go according to the moon. You know? Matter of fact, let me do this. Let me go back. Right? All you have to do is Google, how did the Israelites calculate, determine, find out, whatever you want to put, the new moon. It's like Israelites want to be deeper. These guys want to be deeper than what they need to be. I'll say weekly Sabbath on this one. How did the Israelites calculate the new moon and the weekly Sabbath? Let's see what it says. Here's a look at how ancient Israelites determined the new moon and the weekly Sabbath. Simple. All right, the new moon, the Ra'ash Chadash, which means the first moon, new moon. Observation by witnesses. The beginning of each new month, Rosh Chodesh, is the ancient Hebrew calendar. The beginning of each new month in the ancient Hebrew calendar. Remember the old paths, right? The old ways was determined by visually sighting the first sliver of the new moon after its dark phase. So IUIC, you're going off. It's easy to understand. Easy. This is easy peasy. This is basics. Basics. Israelite Bible basics. Bible basics. You want to be an Israelite, you want to understand how to get to the Sabbath and the new moon, all you got to do is look for a dark moon, find out when the new moon is coming in. It'll be a dark moon. And then they will look for the first sliver of the new moon, which is the light. Like I said, increasing wonderfully and it's changing. The light increases. All right, Sanhedrin's role. All right, so this is according to the first century when you had the Sanhedrin, the 70 elders. Witnesses who observed the new moon would report to the Sanhedrin, a high Israelite court, who would then verify the sightings and declare the new month based on the testimony. The new month is based according to the new moon. What do you have within each month? Weeks. At the end of each week, you get a Sabbath. It's not hard to get. So now they're giving you this new stuff. The weekly Sabbath, Shabbat. Shabbat begins at sunset on Friday. No, there is no Friday in the Bible. So let me do this. Because there is no Friday in the Bible. I don't know where y'all... Okay, in the weekly Sabbath. In the Bible. There is no Friday to Saturday. It wasn't around back then. Okay, let's see what it says here. Oh no, okay, this is what I'll do. How did the Israelites calculate? Because it's giving me both. How did the Israelites calculate the weekly Sabbath and the Bible? In the Bible, the Israelites calculated the weekly Sabbath, the 7th day of a continuous 7-day cycle, beginning with the first day after the creation. No, it's nothing to do with the creation. That's the concept, but that's not. No, we're talking about the weekly Sabbath of the month. The Sabbath was not tied to the lunar cycle, new moon. It was tied to the new moon. That doesn't make sense because it didn't have Fridays. Right, the 7th day of the week. So they got it wrong. So even Google got it wrong. Okay, here we go. The Hebrew days. In the original Hebrew, the days of the week are numbered, not named. Right, there is no Friday or Saturday in the ancient world, with the Sabbath being the 7th day. So if you go back here, right, what does it say? The month is called after her name. Why? So you get the month is based off of the moon, right? Got to do this again. So they would calculate. So here's the, what is it? Okay, here's the new moon. What is this? That's May. Okay, so here's the new moon, right? It's a dark moon. It goes from light to dark, then the light increases. So as you get to the next week, right, you get to the first quarter, which is what? That's the first beginning of the month, the first half. A half moon is the first week. When you get to the second week, it's a full moon. When you get to the third week, it's a half moon. The opposite side is dark, the other side is light, as opposed to the first week. And then the last week, the light dims, and then you get a dark moon. It's not hard. And that seventh day would be a Sabbath. But now you got, Google bringing in this confusion, which when you look up the weeks, no, the Sabbath was not always on a Saturday. How was the Sabbath determined in the Bible? See, they keep going back to Genesis, but it doesn't. The creation day, the creation was separate from when the Heavenly Father gave the Israelites the commandments. Right, the Sabbath is consistently identified as the seventh day of the week in both the Old and New Testaments. Okay? So let me type in the lunar Sabbath. Right? I'm going to just type in lunar Sabbath. I don't know where they're getting. See, this is where the confusion is coming in. So this is the lunar Sabbath. There's a belief held by some that the biblical Sabbath should be determined by the phase of the moon. The Bible tells you that. It says the month, it was a declaration of times, signs of feast days. It was a clock, rather than the continuous 7-day week observed in the Gregorian calendar. We don't go by the Gregorian calendar. Specifically, they believe the Sabbath should fall on the 8th, 15th, 22nd, and 29th of each lunar month, or the 4th day at evening, the 21st day at evening, because our days in the Hebrew started in the evening time before. And these are the days following the new moon. This differs from the traditional understanding of the Sabbath as the seventh day of a continuous week, which is typically observed on a Saturday. The small hats changed it. It got changed up. But what you will find, so let's do this. Let's go to the 15th day. 15th day, right, of the week, and let's calculate the Sabbath. Let's see if I can find it in here. Here you go. Leviticus 23 and 39. So when they're saying that it's not biblical, the scripture's right here. Leviticus 23 and 39. Also in the 15th day of the 7th month, which is what? That would be when the full moon comes in. Right? When ye have gathered in the fruit of the land, ye shall keep a feast unto the Lord 7 days. Because sometimes you have a feast day that fall on the Sabbath. On the first day shall be a Sabbath, and on the 8th day shall be a Sabbath, because you're counting that week. Because that first day, that 15th day of the week, is a Sabbath. According to what? According to the moon. When you count these days, it's going to take you to the Sabbath. Okay? So it's not hard. So I just want to go into that, break it down. As you can see here, even they have the calendar up. The first day, number 1, remember, Israelites, we numbered our days. Number 1 is the new moon. When you add 6 days to 1, you get 7. So that's 1 week. So then you have the 8th day of the month. So you have the new month, which is the new moon. You have 7 days, which is a week. On the 8th day of the month, which is a new week, you count 6 days. After that, you get the 14th day. And to what? The 15th day is the Sabbath. So you just got the 100% truth here. I'm going to end this. These guys, Bow is going off. Genesis, I don't know why y'all debating these guys. But that's what they do. Y'all need to figure out, since Genesis got the Sabbath, Deacon Assad and Brother Akkad, or I'm sorry, Deacon Akkad and Brother Assad, you need to get deep and go into the understanding of why you shouldn't wear hats. When you're doing this ministry, having your head covered. Because you're going off on that too. But anyway, with that, I hope you were edified. Shalom.